Water, a once abundant natural resource, is becoming a more valuable commodity due to various factors. In today's episode of People and Earth, we will be unpacking the factors that are contributing to the scarcity of water, coupled with the measures of planning, developing, distributing, and managing the optimum use of water resources. The topic of access to clean water and water management is in harmony with the Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which states that access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene is the most basic human need for health and well-being. Billions of people will lack access to these basic services by 2030 unless progress quadruples. In the studio today, we are joined by Mr. Simeon Tembo, an environment and a climate change trainer who is also a board member of the marvelous Nakamba Foundation in Strategy, Governance and Training Division, as well as engineer Trevor Muzungu, who doubles up as a chemical and processing engineer and founder of a water purification company, Aqueduct Solutions. Welcome, gentlemen, to the program.
Thank you. Happy to be with you.
Thank you. Viewers, welcome to this week's episode of People and Earth. My name is Grace Malahleki. Now getting straight into it, Mr. Tembo, what is your general understanding of water management?
Looking at this situation, when we talk about water and the management, water is becoming a scarce commodity, and earth being a very silent casualty, which is actually bestowed and bequeathed to the water, wetlands and so on. It has become very difficult because of its scarcity, and the demand is going very high. In terms of water management, we are looking at it in terms of its abstraction in the first point, its abstraction, distribution, coming home into the household as well as in the industrial area. So water actually is being demanded on two prongs, the industrial and domestic demand. So first of all, the electrical, the mechanical, the chemical engineering of water aspect is the first point of understanding it in terms of how we pump it from where it's supposed to be going, whether it's a bore, whether it's from the Zambezi River or from the dams, and also coming into how the mechanical issues come into bringing the water there, and also dosing it to specific chemicals that are required to. Water comes in raw state, and as you manage water in raw state, there's a lot of diseases which are actually waterborne. The first managing thing, first of all, is to ensure that its consumption is fixed in terms of clean water. If you look at Sustainable Development Goal number 6, safe clean water. And also it is a constitutional right. If you go to section 73 and 77 in our Constitution of Zimbabwe in terms of amendment number 20, Act number 2013, it simply says access to clean water. So the first management of clean water is to say, have you treated that water? Have you pumped it in a very good environment so that it reaches out to the domestic people that want to have it? And has it got to the household for this consumption? And also in the industrial aspect part of it. So managing that water is to ensure that it has to be provided in a sustainable manner with a good infrastructure network coming from the engineering aspect in terms of mechanical, electrical and chemical issues so that we treat that water. So by being clean as well, we must make sure that the waterborne diseases that are in water, for example, there's E. coli, drunkenocoliasis, typhoid, dysentery, and also diarrhea, and also bilharzia. Have we made sure that chemical engineers have done a lot of great work to remove all those waterborne diseases or viruses or bacteria that would cause problems to us, so it won't be clean water? And also being people, we actually contributing to the climate change. If you go to Sustainable Goal number 13, 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, and 13B, it talks about a clean environment. It's the same people that actually make a lot of damage to the waters through some pollutants, either through acid mine drainages, through some other petrochemicals that seep into the rivers, and also some sewer that is not well corrected in terms of averting from those rivers that come from, like the wetland, the rivers, and also aquifers and so on. So to manage it, it takes a very hybrid issues that have to come into how we should manage that water in terms of to get it there. It has to be clean, the environment has to be clean, non-pollutant, and all those things.
All right. It seems that over the years, it has become more and more difficult for our water to be clean. What are the main contributing factors that that are polluting our water?
All right. That's a very good question, madam. Pollution comes in three various forms. There's engineering pollution, there's chemical pollution, there's mining pollution, there's also what we call industrial pollution. Pollutants have come into a need to achieve wealth through mining activities, for example, mining, through plant processes. It has also come through using a lot of automobiles in our areas in our land. So pollution comes into water tables or water surfaces or water wetlands to come into contact with the issues like, say in mines, coal mining industry, where I come from. In coal there's sulfur, there's phosphorus, there's ammonia, there's methane. So anything that touches a coal surface where there's water, definitely that chemical reaction in terms of H2O4 reacting with sulfur with an oxide there, it will produce sulfuric acid. If it's a nitrite, it will produce nitric acid. If it's sulfur, sulfuric acid, and also phosphorus acid. So that alone has caused huge pollution of water into those streams of water. So now what is required now, a heavy dosage of ensuring that you prepare a very high capital expenditure method to do acid mine drainage so that the mine affluent matter does not go into the water and also into the water, and also some defecation of the rural and also at some industrial people, not even in the mine, in urbans. You find that somebody just go there, out there and shove that defecation. So all these sewer things now come in and so on, it seeps into the water. Also, we are failing as a people to be in harmony with the earth in terms of ensuring that all the discharges that are being done with the earth are abated by specific infrastructural network that will not damage the earth in terms of those pollutants.
All right. Mr. Tembo,
yes.
Thank you so much. We'll have to hold you there for now. Viewers, you have heard it for yourselves that everyone, be it at household level or at corporate level, we are contributing to the scarcity of water because it is now becoming more and more undrinkable because of the pollutants that we are putting into the water. We'll continue with the discussion soon after this break. Welcome back. You are still watching People and Earth, and this week we are discussing access to clean water and water management. Engineer Muzungu, can you tell us in brief what you at Aquadoc Solutions are doing in this whole purification process and management process of water?
In trying to manage the issue of water quality and water management, as a company, we are forcing and trying by all means to make sure that in industries where Mr. Tembo has highlighted that people are polluting our water sources, we have come with advanced water treatment systems for our waste, meaning that instead of us using chemicals for treating our wastewater, there are now better methods of using nanotechnology to make sure that the water that is being disposed into the environment is safe to the environment, and it can be easy, especially for city councils to recycle that water back to our own people. And then we are also looking into the issue of construction of dams, especially to our farmers, which we call water harvesting. Because water management, it also involves the issue of us trying to capture rainwater that like in this rain season, a lot of people, they are receiving rainfalls in their areas, but an advantage of having a dam in our area or in your area, it helps us now to manage our water resources as well, so that we reduce the issue of depleting our water resources that we currently have. So in a nutshell, we are trying by all means to educate our market the importance of treating the water and the importance of recycling the water, because if we don't recycle our water, it means in the near years to come, our next generation or our future generation that is going to come, they are going to be affected by a serious lack of water. So as Aquadoc, we are really trying by all means to educate our market to involve or to include in their processes wastewater treatment systems that can sustain the use of water in our land.
All right. What are some of the risks associated with having limited access to clean water for our communities?
All right. Answering that, you see, I'll give you an example in Harare. A lot of people, they've moved away from the use of city council water, and it has to do with the issue of water quality. And a lot of people, they've now moved into bore drilling, in which people, they say bore water is safe to drink compared to the one that is currently being provided. Now, we are now having an issue of scarcity of underground water, because maybe we can say each and every neighborhood, especially in high densities, in low densities, each and every household has a borehole, and they are all extracting that water from the same water source, meaning that in the near future, we are going to have a serious challenge in terms of water scarcity. And I think it is being highlighted by dry holes that are now the talk of the day these days, where people, they will drill up to 100 meters not finding water. It is because there are now more plenty of bores that are taking from the same water source. So in terms of risks, we are now seeing that if we don't find better ways to try and have quality water from the current systems that we have, which is our city council water, in the near future, we are going to have a challenge in terms of water supply. Hence, we have moved into the issue of introducing what we call domestic water treatment systems that can now sustain, especially people in high densities as well as medium densities, where they are not allowed to drill boreholes, but they still have access to the council water. We have now introduced those systems to make sure that in your comfortable home, you can easily have mineral water or clean treated water straight from your tap. So,
it's possible for me to have my own mineral water?
Yes, you can have the same water quality, the same with Shopper's Choice that we are having, or the likes of Empire. I think Empire is growing very fast in terms of supplying quality water. And these systems, they make sure that in your home, you don't have to be stressed about water quality. You are definitely going to get your water quality, same as bottled water quality, straight from your tap. So this has been introduced in a way to try and remove the risks associated with drilling of bores, and also in a way of trying to make sure that we utilize, as a way of water management, we utilize the water resources that we currently have, so that we don't deplete our water resources for our next, for our future generation.
Now, Mr. Tembo, what is the importance of having treated water, both at household level or at industrial level, but also looking at the rural areas? Should the rural folk have their water treated as well, or they should just continue drinking it from the source as it was in the beginning?
Treating is comprehensive, both rural and domestic, industry as well. There's no segmentation in terms of treating water because it's a health issue. And when you don't treat water, definitely there's a lot of diseases that are going to come, as I said earlier on, about waterborne diseases. And the cost, the social cost of hospitalizing people and the social cost of getting drugs to treat those people is sort of having us a preventative measure rather than a measure that comes out of following certain costs. Now we at Nakamba, we ensure that we make sure that the people in the rural areas as well as the people that are in the are taught the same things in terms of human resources, capital development, in terms of making sure that the water should be treated, and also what is it that it must not do in terms of polluting the water, so that we don't come at the end of it in terms of suffering. So for example, like greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases is an aspect of also polluting in terms of the carbon dioxide, monoxide. We follow those carbon footprints and so on. And so we're teaching them. On the industrial side, we're looking into, for example, if you're not treating water, it's a huge case in terms of capital expenditure. Now the whole government, in terms of our understandings, we are trying to drive a 12 billion economy, and also a 2013 vision in terms of emerging income. We are saying that all infrastructure networks in terms of treating water. So, for example, we've got ZSZ7, an air to expansion project, it will demand quite a lot of water. And that water has to be treated because water carries itself in natural state a lot of sulfides, a lot of nitrates, a lot of carbonates and so on. Those carbonates have an effect of destroying the boiler tubes if you're not treating them. So we need to remove this carbon dioxide there, the carbonates there, the nitrates there, to ensure that they don't have the carryover. If you are forming, they will carry over. The engineer knows what I'm talking about.
Right.
You do a carryover boiler, and that carryover actually destroys the boiler tubes, which means that the effect.
So at all levels, from household to industrial, water has to be treated. Viewers, don't go away. Join us after this short break. Welcome back to People and Earth, where we are talking about access to clean water and water management. Now, Engineer Muzungu, what is the role of technology in mitigating water crisis?
We've moved an inch to the introduction of domestic water treatment systems, in which we are encouraging our residents, in which we are encouraging our stakeholders to have access to clean water using our modern advanced water treatment systems. In a nutshell, I can say that in trying to make sure that we run away from the issue of water crisis, the main issue that we are supposed to be concerned about is the issue of pollution. And like Mr. Tembo has highlighted, that we as people, we need to be very, very careful about how we handle our environment, because it is the environment that still holds the water sources that we are all getting our water from. I'm sure in Shona we say pasichigare mvura inanganga. We used to say that it was because there was, in terms of human activity and in terms of industrialization, we were still very low. But right now, in a state where we are right now currently, we have seen that there are a lot of industries that have emanated from new technology, and there are also pollution activities that are not being taken care of. Hence, we have seen that now using chemicals to take care of these current water sources that we have. I think that is one of the challenges that our local authorities are having currently. They are not failing to treat the water, but it is because the contaminants, our human activity, the industrialization and all, has made local authorities to find it difficult for them to treat water that meets the quality or the standards of drinking water. Hence, in trying to solve that issue, technology has brought us the use of nanotechnology and pressure, in which we are now dealing with non-chemical water treatment systems, meaning that these systems that we are introducing, or the systems that we have currently, they don't use chemicals in a way of trying to purify water, but they use pressure and biodegradable membranes that are made from biodegradable materials and so forth, so that even if we dispose those membranes after use, they are still environmentally friendly. As well, we are not adding to the issue of pollution. Hence, moving towards the issue of technology, the use of nanotechnology has made us move an inch in trying to solve the issue of chemical use in water treatment.
All right, so how have people responded to the use of nanotechnology in the water purification process?
At domestic level, people, they are really appreciating, and we are still pushing, because like I have said, you have asked, is it possible for me to have mineral water in my own home? Yes. The issue is mainly we just want to make sure that as we move forward, educating our market, they are going to understand mainly the concept of nanotechnology. But so far the people, they are appreciating, because most people, they used to think that if I don't have access to clean water, or if I have access to municipal water, the only way that I can have clean water is if I can drill a bore, or if I can go to a bore and get fresh water from there. But right now, in a comfortable home, you don't have to worry anymore because of the technology that we've introduced. All
right. Now, Mr. Tembo, if we look at our capital, Harare, it was designed for a small number of people. But now Harare is home to millions of people. What impact does that have on the water resource?
It has a very great impact as well as adverse impact. Because the population explosion, as it grows, it also grows in proportionate to the water demand, both for hygiene purposes, for sanitation purposes, and for consumption purposes. And so as we are saying that the infrastructure itself would not have contained the population explosion, then the need now for water to come in, because really it is not designed to cater for those. How they are going to be affected is that as water becomes very scarce, also the appropriation and rationing of the waters there also becomes disproportionate in terms of that. And by so doing, even not the removal of some of the blockages here and there, especially the sewers that I've just seen around as I was moving around, is also affecting that in a certain way. So what we need to do is to put in the latest infrastructural network that will deal with such increasing explosion of the population, because it's actually putting heavier gravity on the little amenities that are there in terms of the water supply. And more pervasive and more actually worrisome is that the development of the adults to adolescents in terms of puberty and so on, women are actually suffering the most pain because of the hygiene menstrual management. We find that hygiene menstrual management requires quite a lot of water in terms of sanitizing the whole area. But now the water is not there, and even the rural areas are more affected because they need to move very long distances to go and fetch water there, and also they drop out of school, and finally as they go their way into fetch water, miles and miles from the point of whatever it is, have been affected in a bigger way. So looking at Harare now, this stretch is that I think the president had something to do with putting in certain measures, mitigated measures, which I think city councils should take it serious and apply those strategies that were put by the president to say, if you do this and that. I think in the Sunday Mail, it was mentioned in terms of exactly what the city council should do in terms of that pressure on the water there.
Now, Engineer Muzungu, a lot of people, as you have highlighted, have now resorted to borehole drilling, even in the high-density suburbs, or even in suburbs where there are no council pipes, sewer pipes, but they also have septic tanks. Now, how safe is that water? Is borehole water always 100% safe?
Thank you for asking a very crucial question. A lot of people, I've come across a lot of people asking me the same question, and I think I would want the people or our viewers to listen very carefully. Borehole water, in some areas, it is safe to drink, but in most areas, our borehole water is not safe for consumption. Why? The water that we get from the bore is mainly contaminated with bacteria like what Mr. Tembo has highlighted, the E. coli bacteria, the typhoid and so forth. And now the issue of having a bore at a homestead where there is a septic tank or where there is a sewer, now seepage of those dangerous pathogens into our water systems. A lot of people, they mainly judge water by seeing it, but a lot of tests like the UN have put a measure to make sure that each and every bore that they drill, it is being tested. And 93% of those bores, they failed the tests, meaning that it is a serious issue that needs people to look into. And as Aquadoc, we have moved a step forward to also introduce systems that also handles bore water that is not meeting the standards for drinking water. So I can say it all depends with the land, but 93% of these bores that we're extracting, they are failing the tests of meeting the standards of drinking water.
All right, that's quite a concern, but I'm sure you at Aquadoc, you have solutions to mitigate that challenge. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for having joined us today on People and Earth, where we were talking about access to water and water management. Thank you so much, viewers. Well, that does it for this week's edition of People and Earth. See you again next time.